Am I the asshole for yelling at my girlfriend due to her camera roll? Me, 23 male, and my girlfriend, 21 female, have been together for 4 months now. She's great, beautiful, crazy intelligent, and has the best personality. Genuinely my dream girl. Except for one issue, her camera roll. For background, she dated a guy for 4 years in high school and the first half of college. She broke up with him last year and has dated other people since then, leading up to me. She never really talks about him, unless telling a past story about her friend group, which he was a part of until he suddenly up and left. According to her, the reason they broke up is she realized they were on 2 different levels of maturity. When I mean she's intelligent, I mean she's well known around campus and every professor adores her, and we go to a Big 12 university. She also got life-threateningly sick, and while he was worried for her, she knew he wouldn't be responsible enough to take care of her in the future. Progressive heart disease. They ended on good terms, but don't talk anymore, because he is kind of an introverted guy, according to her. The part I get upset about is every time she opens her camera roll to show me a past picture, she scrolls past photos or videos of him and her. I've brought this up to her before, and she always laughs and says it's because she's too lazy to go through 30,000 photos. She hasn't deleted pictures since 2015. These photos and videos of him and her aren't romantic. They're high school shenanigans and usually involve her other friends, but I still can't help but feel jealous. Today she showed me a photo of her friends in 2018, telling me a funny story. He's in the photo. I said, "You have a lot of pictures with him," in an annoyed tone, and she said, "Well, yeah, he grew up with me and my friends. We were kids together. It's like a look back into my childhood." I told her I didn't like those pictures, and she offered to remove them and put them on a drive. I told her that wasn't enough. She told me they were precious memories she shared with her friends, and she wasn't going to delete them just because he was in a couple. I kind of raised my voice and told her she should go back to him if the memories were precious. She got up and said, "I don't want to go back to him, but I also don't want to be with someone who is emotionally insecure. I have enough to deal with." And then left. I've debated on texting her and apologizing. Am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole for asking my ex-husband to cancel a trip between our daughter and his partner because I'm struggling emotionally? My ex-husband and I are divorced and both have new partners. Our daughter is 19 and lives with him. She has been spending time with his partner for almost a year, and they planned a trip together. My ex-husband is not involved. I know our daughter is an adult and that there are no safety concerns. Rationally, I understand that. Emotionally, though, I'm really struggling with the idea of my daughter traveling with my ex's partner. It brings up a lot of pain and feelings I don't feel proud of. I have already talked to my daughter and told her honestly that the situation hurts me, but that I accept that she wants to go on the trip. I didn't ask her to cancel it because I didn't want to put her in the position of having to choose between her own plans and my feelings. Even so, I asked my ex-husband to cancel the trip. I realize that puts him in a difficult position, especially since he isn't part of the trip, and that canceling it would likely hurt our daughter. He has said this isn't his decision to make, and I can see why. I'm torn between trying to manage my own emotions and not wanting to cause harm to my daughter or cross boundaries with my ex. I don't know if asking him to cancel the trip was unfair or if it was reasonable to ask for help when I'm struggling. Am I the asshole for asking my ex-husband to cancel the trip instead of handling my feelings differently? Info. Our daughter is 18 and legally an adult. There are no safety concerns related to the trip. My ex-husband's partner would only join for part of the trip. I spoke to my daughter about my feelings and told her I accept her decision to go.
Am I the asshole for skipping my son's football trip? I, 38 male, and my wife, 39 female, are having a disagreement on what to do in this situation. My son, who is 8, lives for football. It's been announced in May that a yearly football festival will be held in Blackpool, UK. We live across the country, so this is a weekend trip for us. One of us goes with him, and his team play in the festival, as well as other fun things from bowling and stuff like that. He's done 2 of these now and would be really disappointed if we can't go. However, already for that weekend is my daughter's 5 dance show. She does 2 dance classes at the One Dance Studio, cheerleading and musical theatre. They work all year round to do the show, they buy costumes, rent out a local theatre for 2 afternoon shows for all the girls of all the age groups to do it. It's a whole big thing. My daughter loved it last year, which was her first show. She also rocked it and stood out above everybody else. My wife thinks one of us should go to one and the other take her to the other one, which usually would make sense. However, my son does a lot of competitions, events and other things throughout the year. One of us always goes to his training and watches him. We almost always, both of us, go to his competitions and local football festivals, dragging his sister along. He does a ton of these things. This one is bigger. Teams come from all over the country for it, but he still does a lot of similar, more local things. A bigger one he did mid last year would be a big one in Glasgow, where teams come from neighbouring cities for the event. My daughter, on the other hand, has nothing else like this. She goes into the twice a week and we don't get to see anything. There's a watch week once a year where we get to sit at the side of the class and watch, but that's it. Everything leads up to the one show. My wife's argument is regardless of whether one of us misses it or not, she still gets to do the show. My son would miss the entire weekend thing if one of us doesn't go. However, there's just nothing else like this for her. There's no mini shows around the year she does. She never gets to show off, which she loves doing. She's a performer. To me, this is the one and only thing that she gets. If we miss this, that's missing everything of hers for the entire year. There's nothing else. My son misses this one. We get to see and take him to all the other things throughout the year. He also does golf and does competitions round that too. They both do swimming, but not in any competitive manner. Just lessons on how to swim.
Am I the arsehole for telling my parents that I will not parent my younger adult sister? I, male 24, work at a university as IT support. I have a younger sister, Cleo, female 20, who started studying at this university in the autumn of last year. She's moved out of the family home and into a house share with 2 friends. Our parents live 3 hours away from the school. I love my sister, but for some background, she can be quite immature for her age. I think my parents have babied her a lot. When Cleo got accepted into the university and decided that's where she's going, my parents made it clear they want me to keep tabs on her. They were worried she's going to get a sketchy boyfriend, start drinking, or just generally be reckless. I told my parents I'd check in with her to make sure she's okay, but I'm not interested in spying on her every move. They'd frequently call me to ask what Cleo is up to. Every time I'd say she seems fine, but you should ask her yourselves. It's been pretty uneventful. Cleo seemed like her normal perky self and always told me she was fine when I asked aside from a few small arguments with her housemates. In the new year, Cleo tried to start up a TikTok-based cookie business. Last week, she called me because she had accidentally caused a kitchen fire. She fell asleep while cookies were in the oven. She said her phone's alarm didn't go off. And when she took them out, they were in flames and she dropped them on the floor, and firefighters had been called. No one was hurt, and other than the kitchen flooring and a bit of the walls, there's no major damage to the house, and it's being covered by insurance and her deposit. I comforted Cleo, who was understandably upset, and helped her talk to her landlord. When my parents found about this, they were absolutely distraught. They said they don't think Cleo can be trusted to be independent and demanded that I invite her to live with me so that I can keep an eye on her. I live with my fiancé, and while we do have a spare bedroom, my fiancé is 4 months pregnant with our first ever child, so we already have a lot going on. Plus, I don't think this would help Cleo be a responsible adult. My parents don't seem to understand my perspective and said it's my duty as Cleo's big brother to take care of her. And they don't feel comfortable having Cleo live away from home unless she's with me. They seem convinced that she will do this again and genuinely worried, but I don't think she would after that scare, and everyone makes mistakes. We ended up arguing over this, and I said I'm not going to parent my adult sister. Am I the arsehole for not doing more for her like my parents want?
Me in the wrong. I could potentially make my sister homeless. A year after cutting off my family, My name showed up on a recorded deed of trust. Last year, I cut my parents off and thought that was the end. They tried to force me to co-sign a mortgage for my younger sister, called me selfish when I refused, and I found a credit card opened in my name at their address. I froze my credit, shut everything down, moved out of state, and told myself, done, no more access. I was wrong. This week, a letter from the county recorder shows up about a newly recorded deed of trust with my updated address. I pull the record. My full legal name as co-borrower, a signature that's supposed to be mine, and a hometown notary stamp. But she'll lose her house. If your roof depends on a forged co-borrower, you never had a house. You had a countdown. This week, a letter from the county recorder shows up about a newly recorded deed of trust with my updated address. I pull the record. My full legal name as co-borrower, a signature that's supposed to be mine, and a hometown notary stamp. I did not apply for this loan. I did not sign this loan. I was not even in the same state the day they claim I sat with a notary. I called the lender's fraud department and asked for the e-sign audit trail. The IP used for my signature? My parents' Wi-Fi. I emailed the notary. She replied in writing that she saw me over FaceTime and matched my ID from a photo my mom provided. That is not legal. I didn't do my job and now I'm part of a crime. Here's what I have. The deed listing me as co-borrower, the fake signature and stamp, the lender's e-sign audit with their IP, records placing me out of state, and last year's police report from the secret credit card. So I acted. Filed a police report for identity theft and forgery with exhibits. Filed a state notary complaint with her written admission. Filed an FTC identity theft affidavit. Sent a fraud packet to the lender demanding removal of my name and treating the acknowledgement as defective. Extended my 7-year fraud alert. Refroze all bureaus. Locked my USPS address. Opened a PO box. Retained a lawyer. Sent my parents a written cease and desist. Stay out of my finances. All contact is email only. I'm not giving them time to fix it quietly. I'm not offering a refinance window. I'm not protecting them so my sister doesn't have to move. If this loan collapses, it's because they built it on my stolen identity. That's on them. But she'll lose her house. If your roof depends on a forged co-borrower, you never had a house. You had a countdown. This is absolutely ridiculous, and I feel like I'm out of my mind. I thought this was all behind me. I guess not. I've had some amazing help over the last year, trying to piece my life back together, but things are so bad right now. I don't care if she ends up homeless. I'm so done.
Am I the jerk for telling my roommate's boyfriend he can't stay over anymore because he keeps borrowing my clothes? My roommate's boyfriend, 23 male, practically lives at our apartment. I, 24 male, don't love it, but whatever. But recently, I noticed clothes going missing. Shirts, hoodies, a jacket. I thought I misplaced them until I saw him wearing one of my hoodies in our kitchen. I said, "Hey, that's mine." He said, "Oh, I thought it was your roommate's." We share everything I said. Well, don't share my stuff. A week later, I found another sweater missing, and my roommate said he probably grabbed it accidentally. I told her boyfriend needs to stop staying over because he's treating my closet like Goodwill. She called me dramatic and said, "They're just clothes." I told her, "Cool, then he doesn't need to be here." Now she's saying I'm making the apartment uncomfortable. Am I the jerk?
Me in the wrong for telling on the guy I was dating to his wife and blowing up a perfect family? I found myself single in my 30s after a 10-year engagement ended and had to re-enter the dating scene. Being a work-from-home, social circle the size of a Cheerio, pick up groceries kind of girly, I inevitably had to resort to online dating apps. I matched with a guy, super cute, similar interests, seemed nice enough. We chatted for a bit, didn't seem like a serial killer, so we went on a few dates. He had no social media presence at all. Veteran, Army Ranger, wore the hoodie as proof, liked dogs and hiking. We had great chemistry and the conversation flowed effortlessly. So far, no red flags. Maybe dating in your 30s isn't as bad as they say? Wrong. After a few weeks, we had only ever been to my house, never his. I wanted to see his house, meet his dogs, make sure he didn't have a bare mattress on the floor, etc. Eventually, I kind of put my foot down and said that next time spent the night together, it would be at his house. He hesitated a bit and eventually said, "Well, those are all certainly words." What? The alarm bells be ringing and the red flags be flapping in the breeze at this point. Eventually, after gathering my girls together and going full investigator mode, I'm talking looking up property records, Google Maps Street View, and of course a good fashion Facebook stalk like the whole thing, we find out that he's married with 6 kids. He may not have a social media presence, but his wife sure did. They were the real deal. Christmas pictures in matching PJs, mushy, gushy anniversary posts about the life they had built together. To top it all off, her first husband had died in Afghanistan. And his job was, you guessed it, an Army Ranger. While it's possible they both were Rangers, I had introduced him to a friend that was also a veteran, and my friend said he didn't act like one and doubted that he had served. At this point, I was pissed. Not only had he lied to me, but he lied to his wife, who seemed all in all like a good person. Plus, don't even get me started on the whole stolen valor thing. I knew I had to tell her, since I'd want someone to tell me if I was in her shoes. I used my notes app on my phone to craft a message, edited it a million times, sent it to my girls for their edits, then let it rip. I provided screenshots of his Tinder profile as evidence. She was obviously heartbroken and doubtful at first, but I had the receipts. He never messaged me again, but based on his Tinder location, which he kept active, he left the state for a while. Her social media profiles have since been scrubbed of all evidence of his existence. On one hand, I feel guilty for blowing up their perfect family, but on the other, he did it to himself by acting like a douche. I don't think I am, but I'm searching for validation. So me in the wrong, or me in the...
Am I the hero for wanting nothing to do with my friend after she lost her baby? Okay, I don't know whether it's called miscarriage or stillbirth, but she lost her baby in the 7th month. So me and my friends have been close friends since we were kids. More like family, actually. We've always shared everything with each other, and we are always the first ones to reach out to whenever there is something new in our lives. When I was pregnant, she was the first one, after my mom, to know. We cried together. We laughed together. Anyway, she got married a long time ago, and I was also her maid of honor. We remained super close. She did move away because her husband lives in a city that's like 2-hour drive away. We still chat on a daily basis. So out of nowhere, she calls me crying to come to the hospital where she is. I go there and find out she lost her baby. In the moment, I was absolutely devastated for her. I didn't know that she was pregnant, but no questions asked. It's not about me. She suffered a big loss, and all I can do is help. So I have done what I should do, as family. I stayed with her. I took care of her. I slept with her in the same bed for a while to comfort her and be there for her as much as was needed. I even bathed her and fed her like she was a little baby. It really broke her very severely, and it was heartbreaking to see this happen. Now fast forward. She is fine now. Of course you never really get over such a loss, but it seems like she is starting to accept and heal. Me, on the other hand, want to slowly take a distance from her. Reason being, she was 7 months pregnant. 7 months, and we were talking to each other on a daily basis. And not even once has she mentioned it. I could have honestly excused it if she hadn't told anyone, because yes, people have a right to their privacy, and if her and her husband want to keep it a secret, okay, sure. Yes, it would hurt because I shared it immediately with her, but everyone has their own personality and the way they deal with things. So fair enough, no hard feelings. The issue is everyone knew. Everyone. Except for me.
A mutual friend even told me that she was requested to not tell me because she'd just rather me not know. It was the plan to only inform me when the baby shower would happen. And then it also clicked to me why she was avoiding to see me. Yes, a 2-hour drive is not nothing, and we are both extremely busy. But it never reached the point of not seeing each other for months and months. But every time I'd come up with an idea, she had a reason why it couldn't happen. I didn't even ever think something like this was possible, and I still don't get it. I have always been her biggest supporter, and always have been so happy for her when good things happen. Anyway, this just made me realize that she doesn't see me the way I see her, and that's fine. She needed my help, and I would never kick someone who is already down. Especially when I care about that person. But now that she is okay, I just don't want to have anything to do with her. I am just really turned off from this friendship. Her purposely wanting to hide things and even warning people she isn't even that close to, not to tell me as if I'm some kind of enemy. And on top of that, lying to me every day. The amount of times she claimed to have gotten her period. My family says I should be first having a deep conversation about it before cutting her off because we didn't talk about it. I personally don't even feel like I want to discuss it. Like, whatever the reason might be. I don't think it would be good enough for me. I didn't ask any questions or make comments when I was with her, because my main focus was her well-being. Anyway, am I the hero? Because according to my other friend, I am being a bitch for wanting to cause her another loss.
Am I the hero for walking out on a dinner with my husband's sister and her boyfriend? So my 34 female husband, 32 male, is the youngest in his family. We've been married for a little less than a year now, but I noticed his elder sister, 37 female, is super difficult and controlling. My husband has warned me about her, let's call her H, ever since we met, and he was even super nervous before he introduced me to her. I made sure to be super nice and courteous, and we hit it off, especially that we realized we know a lot of the same people from our similar field of work. Over time, I noticed H's toxic behavior with her siblings, especially with my husband, since he's extremely peaceful and non-confrontational. She would disrespect him a lot, give unsolicited commands. She even keeps commenting around how much attention he gives me, and how she thinks we're super codependent, and that he needs to give me less attention. LOL. We are not codependent at all. We just really enjoy hanging out with each other and prefer doing things together. Yesterday, H and her boyfriend were visiting. She lives in another country, and she wanted us all to meet him for the first time. My husband was with them by himself for an hour or so, and while his brother, his wife, and I were on the way to meet them, my husband kept texting me, saying he felt like a third wheel, and they weren't really involving him in the conversation. We finally get there, and we meet them, and we are deciding where to have dinner. We quickly noticed how chaotic H was acting, ordering us around to call restaurants and check for bookings, to go this way or that way, to hurry up because it was late and we needed to eat. My husband, H, and boyfriend and I were sharing a car, and my husband was driving to the restaurant. We were chatting and it was normal, until H decided to make fun of my husband and his slow driving, and kept being super annoying to hurry up and drive faster. She even kept interrupting her boyfriend when he was telling stories to tell my husband to hurry up. Then when the brother and his wife called to say they arrived, and we still had 15 minds to get there, H went full-blown bully. Kept disrespecting my husband in front of the boyfriend, and my husband was trying his best to bite his tongue. It was so obvious that we all got so uncomfortable, especially the boyfriend who kept saying, "It's okay guys that we're taking longer, we're enjoying the conversation." The last straw for me was when we got to the area and it was so crowded, and my husband was trying to make a U-turn to get to the restaurant, and H told him to stop here so she and her boyfriend can get out and walk to the restaurant before we can go and find parking. And my husband couldn't stop cars moving all around. She threw a tantrum and kept berating my husband for not being able to stop when she wanted him to. It ruined the whole mood. Eventually, my husband stopped a little further down the road and they stepped out. Am I wrong for speaking up about what I saw my brother doing with his girlfriend? I, 19 female, live with my parents. My brother, 32 male, and his girlfriend, she's either 21 or 22, I'm not totally sure, live in a town about 15 minutes away. But they stayed with us this weekend for my dad's birthday. My brother and I aren't that close, and I haven't talked much to his girlfriend, but she seems really nice. She's close to my age and goes to the same college as me, so I could actually see us being friends. Yeah, the age gap between her and my brother is a little weird, especially when she's almost the same age as me. But he's my brother, so if he's happy. Last night, my brother decided they were going to go out for drinks. My parents were already asleep, and his girlfriend didn't seem super thrilled about going, since it was already like 10 or 11 at night. But it wasn't my business, so I didn't say anything. I stayed up doing schoolwork in the kitchen, and I heard them come home around 1:30 or 2 in the morning. When they came through the kitchen to set their stuff down, his girlfriend was absolutely hammered. Like, could barely walk straight, slurring the whole thing. I asked if she was okay, and my brother said she was fine, and that they only had a couple drinks. He seemed like he was trying to rush her downstairs to the basement. That's the room they were staying in. I felt uneasy because she seemed way more drunk than he was letting on, but I brushed it off. About 10 minutes later, I heard a phone ringing on the counter. I didn't pay any mind to it until it kept on ringing, so I got a weird feeling and went to check it. It was her phone, and there were 3 missed calls from Mommy. I thought it was weird because I know my mom would never call me 3 times at 2 a.m. unless it was serious. I debated leaving it, but when it started ringing again, I decided to just take it down to her. I knocked before going down, but since the phone was ringing and I didn't assume there was reason for concern, I didn't wait long. As I started walking down, I heard some grunting noises that suddenly stopped, then some rustling. That's when it clicked what was happening. I immediately stopped and apologized and said out loud that I was just bringing her phone because someone was calling a bunch of times. My brother said it was fine and to come down. When I got to the bottom, he was standing there in a towel and looked nervous. His girlfriend was under the blankets in the bed, and from what I could see around her shoulders, she looked weird. She also was 100% asleep or passed out. I doubted what I was thinking for a second, but the smell in the room made it pretty clear what had been going on. I gave him the phone and went right back upstairs. I couldn't stop thinking about it though. She had been so drunk she could barely stand, while he seemed totally fine. It made me feel really uncomfortable, especially with her being a girl that's basically my age. I didn't know exactly what to do. I didn't exactly see anything happen, but my gut was screaming that something was off, and my mind kept going to the worst. I ended up telling my mom and asking her for advice about what I saw in the morning because I couldn't shake it. Later, my brother came upstairs alone. I said hi, but went straight to my room. I could hear my mom quietly talking to him, and then a few minutes later, he came into my room looking mad. He told me I was making serious stuff up that I didn't understand, and that they needed to stay out of his business. I told him I wasn't accusing him of anything, but that I felt uneasy about what I saw, especially because his girlfriend was super drunk, and that he has no reason to be mad if it's not the case. I said if I were in her position, I'd want someone to say something, and he would too. That made him even angrier. He told me I didn't know what the hell I was saying, and he went back downstairs. When they both did come up, my brother basically refused to let me talk to her at all, and her eyes were very bloodshot, possibly like from crying, but I didn't see very so. Maybe just from being hardly awake. Then he rushed them both out, and he said they were going to eat. My mom later thanked me for saying something, but my dad told me that I might have overstepped since I don't know the full story, don't want to get him in trouble, and would feel bad if I did get him into trouble. Now I just feel weird and kind of guilty. I don't know if I did the right thing or if I just made everything worse. Am I wrong for telling my mom what I saw? For being uncomfortable about it? Update. I'm sorry if this is not the lengthy conclusion you expected, but I am going to be brief for the privacy and safety of the girl, and any future action she decides to take regarding this. This was not a product of a prior agreement between the heir and my brother. The calls from her mom were the response to a call she made to her earlier. That night when she was out with my brother and experienced abnormal effects under similar circumstances in the past. My mom and I drove her to the location she chose, and my brother went home in his own vehicle with my dad. I am not making any claims asserting the alleged reasoning or wrongdoing of any party, if any at all. Most importantly, the girl is safe and fully informed of both the occurrences and this post. I cannot make any claims on behalf of my brother, as we are not allowed to contact each other at this time, per my parents. Thanks for all the advice and for understanding. In addition, my parents have revealed details to me regarding the nature of my relationship with my brother in my childhood that they chose to keep from me, unless later brought up unprompted by myself for reasons they believe were justified. With that being said, I ask that you please refrain from further speculation regarding what happened between my brother and the girl, things my brother may have potentially done in his past, or about the choices my parents made in their wording or past actions. Remember that these are things that are about and impact the lives of real people. Thank you.
Am I wrong for calling my sister an attention seeker because she's making my grandma's death all about her? My grandma died a little over a week ago. My sister, 19, was supposed to stay the night with her in the hospital. We were all there until around 9:30 and she was fine. She was sitting up and talking. At 2:30, some cop was knocking on our door to tell us that she was dead and to take us to the hospital. She had a heart attack. In my culture, when someone dies, you open their house so anybody can pay their respects. Like my mom and aunt seriously posted her address on social media with dates and times. I just have to say that my sister is the perfect one, and that role is very important to her. She has a tiny body, great skin, piercing blue eyes, and springy blonde curls. She literally looks like a Disney princess. Nobody in our family even has blonde hair or blue eyes or curly hair except for like a couple of my grandparents' siblings. She's also a preschool teacher. In my state, you can get a certificate after a year of college and a certain number of hours in the classroom, and works with kids outside of the classroom, so now she teaches all of the little cousins and has people coming to her for advice and really makes a spectacle of her being great with kids. So anyways, we had the open house thing, and people she didn't even know kept coming to her and telling her that she was our grandma's favorite and how proud our grandma was of her. Then somebody asked how she was doing after seeing her die, and my sister goes on and on about how it was the scariest thing in her life, and how when she knew grandma was going to die, she tried calling us, but we all slept through it, and how after grandma died, she had to call one of her preschool parents to wake us up and take us to the hospital because she didn't know how else to reach us. I swear she told that story at least 20 times between the 2 nights. When she wasn't telling that story, she was showing off all of her jewelry that my grandma apparently gave her, but before her death, she insisted they were fakes from Amazon, or talking about her other job working with kids and giving advice on which public library is the best for toddlers, and showing pictures of the vacation her boss took her on. It was all about her. After the second night, I told her she doesn't have to be an attention seeker. We get it. She's perfect, and she was grandma's favorite person in the world, and she does like the best job for women in our culture and knows everything about little kids, but grandma's death isn't about her.
I got in trouble because she's traumatized and she and Grandma had a special relationship. Now my sister is pissed with me and my parents are trying to pretend like nothing happened, but they still want me to apologize. So am I wrong for calling her an attention seeker?
Am I wrong for telling my friend her wedding was disappointing? So my 25 female friend, let's call her Layla, got married recently. We were part of the same friend group in college. I was super excited when I received the invitation because I had never been to a wedding before, but I knew all about them from Reddit and movies. I was looking forward to the wedding for weeks, and the night before, I made sure all my preparations were ready. I put a baggie of popcorn and a spray bottle of red wine in my purse. I arrived early and sat in the back so I wouldn't miss anything. Then I sat back and waited, and waited, and nothing. People came in, found seats, greeted each other quietly. No one threw a tantrum because someone else got a +1. No one started yelling because they discovered their ex was invited. I was just beginning to give up hope when I saw her. Some woman I didn't know walked in just before the ceremony began. Her dress was mostly blue, but there was definitely some white in the patterns. I eagerly clutched my purse, but again, nothing. Noon seemed to care that this woman was brazenly wearing white to a wedding. Even when the bride appeared and walked down the aisle, she barely even seemed to pay attention to the guests. Then the ceremony started, and it was just a bunch of taking. I mean, the bride and her husband said some sweet stuff to each other, but overall it was just really boring. Absolutely zero drama. They didn't even have that part where they ask about objections. With the ceremony over, I had to put my remaining hope in the reception. But they were once again dashed as the night wore on. Everything was just fine. The food, the music, was all nice, I guess. But no drama. The best man and maid of honor gave short, sweet speeches, but no drunk relative grabbed the mic. There were no proposals or pregnancy announcements. People just ate, danced, and had a good time. No one even stole someone else's vegan meal or gluten-free dessert. Later that evening, our old friend group was talking, and the bride came over to see how everyone was doing. I was quiet, and she asked if everything was okay. I admitted I was quite disappointed with her wedding and explained all I've said above. She asked if I was really hoping her wedding would be ruined. I calmly explained, at least I had that I was just expecting a real wedding like I'd read about on Reddit, and all of them had some sort of drama. She gave me a weird look and moved on, but I could tell she was annoyed. It's been a week since the wedding, and I'm here sitting on my couch, staring at my phone, waiting for it to blow up. But so far, no one is taking sides. None of her family or our mutual friends are sending angry texts. It's like no one cares about our minor interaction. Am I wrong here? I'm so confused. Was that even a wedding without any drama? Am I wrong for ignoring my girlfriend? Hi all, my girlfriend, 32 female, and I, 32 male, have been living in the house we bought together for about 8 months. My girlfriend talks a lot, which I don't mind, but she has a habit of talking to me while she walks to other rooms in our house. If I want to listen to her, I pretty much have to follow her around the house while she talks about her day. If I'm busy or just trying to sit down and relax for a bit, thus can be quite annoying, as all I hear is mumbled words. I've asked her if she wants to talk to me, then can she please remain in the room I'm in, as I can't hear her all the way in the bathroom or bedroom, but she's still docile. I've probably been a bit childish, but when she has started to talk to me if she leaves the room I'm in, I just ignore her. It's pretty easy to do, as I can't even hear what she's saying. The last couple of times she's been mad at me because I missed what she was saying, especially if it's about making plans for the coming days. Things got a bit heated the other night, as while she was complaining about her coworker while she was doing her laundry, I was in the kitchen doing the dishes, and I couldn't hear her as both these rooms here on the other side of the house. She came into the kitchen and told me I was an idiot for ignoring her. I replied, "If you want to talk to me, stay in the same room as me. I'm not a dog that will follow you around all day." She's been giving me the silent treat all last night and this morning. So am I wrong?
Am I wrong for refusing to babysit and prepare dinner? I, 25 female, live in a multi-family household, residing in the in-law apartment. My sister, 28 female, lives in the main house with my mom and her 2 kids, 7 male and 4 male. It's been 3 years of living here so far, and it's been very frustrating to say the least. I pay rent, my sister doesn't, because she needs the help as a single mom. Due to the housing dynamic, I find myself involuntarily babysitting. I babysit my nephews once a week for free 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 a.m., and my mom babysits 2x per week while my sister works third shift. The specific weekday that I babysit is tough for me because I have a 10-hour work from home shift and I'm also in graduate school. My sister and I have had multiple arguments because I've said I don't want to babysit after work because I'm tired. Sometimes she'll leave the kids upstairs without even asking me or telling me she's leaving. I've even asked her to at least make sure the kids have dinner prepared, so all I have to worry about is getting them ready for bed. That simple request is a problem for her. She calls me lazy for having a problem with her not preparing dinner. Last night, we got into a heated argument about it because I'm tired of the entitlement, especially after helping her during Hello Weekend with the kids, making sure they were showered Saturday night, ate lunch the next day, and taking them to church in the park while she sleeps after her third shift. And she cursed me out in text. Air fryer and chicken nuggets and fries. A 2-effort job. Sincerely, another person at working a 10-hour shift. Then I mentioned how she's the mother. She should meal prep, and she should be ashamed for seeing a problem with me asking her to do so. She continued to curse me out. You lazy, some people actually do work, and you sit at a computer complaining about putting chicken nuggets in an air fryer for 15 minutes, you lazy. Obviously, I'm going to make sure they eat. So yes, I'm going to do it. But it's the fact that she expects me to be a nanny instead of taking the time to do it herself. She always claims how toxic of a family we are, and how other people's family members do more for them. Personally, why would I do favors for someone that is rude and entitled?
Am I wrong for not helping my girlfriend? Hello, I might need some other opinions, trust, viewpoint to possibly help change my mind. In a conversation with my girlfriend, female 21, and I, male 23, it recently came up that I'm planning on financially supporting my younger sister when she's studying. Currently, she doesn't need the money yet, and isn't accepting it, because she's still living with our older sister, but she will in the future, start a few months, when she has to pay for her own apartment. She also is working part-time, but that is not enough to cover everything, and we want her to have time to focus on her studies. My girlfriend expressed that she doesn't support the idea, thinks it would be unfair for me to support my sister but not her. We've been together for almost 6 months, we don't live together. My girlfriend is currently doing an apprenticeship. She also sometimes works as a babysitter. She argues if I'm willing to support my sister with a monthly allowance, I should also be willing to support her in the same way. I have offered stated that I would be willing to help if she lacks money for any necessities, but she says that is unfair, since I am not giving the same stipulation to my sister. I might have enough funds to support them both if I decrease the amount for my sister, but it might be tight with my own budget. I am looking for your opinions whether I'm being unreasonable, if there is a good compromise, or whatever you think.
Would I be the arsehole if I told my husband he has to choose between me and his friend? I've 37 female, been with my husband, 44 male, for 17 years. We have kids, a dog, and we used to own a business together. He has this friend who happens to be his little brother's ex-girlfriend, 30 female. She's been in and out of our lives since she broke up with my brother-in-laws over 12 years ago. Over the last 4 years or so, she's been constantly messaging my husband. She never sends me a message, unless my husband tells her that he's not home and she's on her way, happened only once in 4 years. She's engaged and has a baby on the way. Both my husband and his friend say they have a brother-sister relationship. My kids don't like her or her kid. Her kid is 7 years younger than our youngest child. They feel like they have to babysit her when she comes over. This is what bothers me about their relationship. I am never included in their conversations online, even when she invites herself over. My husband once told his brother that he thought that she was hot, and if he was younger and single, he would try to date her. My brother. Ilaw sent me a message to warn me about their relationship when I spoke to my husband about it. He laughed it off and told me his brother was jealous. During an intimate moment, my husband told me that she was the only person he would ever ask to do a threesome with us. That was never discussed between us before. Not even the option of a threesome. When she comes over, she barely speaks directly to me, always to my husband. I have to butt into the conversation for her to even acknowledge me. I'm tired of feeling like the third wheel in their friendship. Last year, he gave me one of his old cell phones because mine had broken. He hadn't logged out of his Messenger account, so I used it to my advantage and read their messages at the time. He had admitted to her that he had told his brother that she was hot and that if he was younger and single, he would date her. He then told her I wasn't home when he said that, and I didn't know exactly what he said. Her response was to send him emoji. Ever since, I feel like they both occasionally disrespect me in their conversations. All he does is talk about her. Often. He never makes her wait when she texts him. Yet sometimes when I text him, he takes a half hour to answer me. So tell me, would I be the arsehole if I told him that he had to choose between his relationship with me and his friend?
Would I be the asshole if I tell my daughter she has to move if she can't follow my house rules? My daughter just turned 20. Don't ask that she stays home every day, and for the most part, she is home every day. She didn't register for the fall semester and claims she will for the spring. She's been really relaxed about job hunting. For the most part, I tried to keep an open mind and understand that she may be just figuring herself out. Rarely does she go out. But she has been smoking Zaza a lot. I'm worried about that. When she does go out, she always wants to come home at 2 a.m. or after. I keep telling her nothing good happens after 2. And I try to make her understand that as a parent, I'm up worrying about her until she comes home. She just says I'm trying to control her, and I'm not. She can leave and come whenever she wants, just not at 2 a.m. Today I told her if she can't respect my rules, she can't stay with me. All she heard was, I'm kicking her out. She says I'll never see her again. She's my only child. I don't want her to just disappear, but I also don't want her disrespecting me and my rules. Any suggestions or advice on how to rephrase this? Update. I hope I'm updating correctly. I did sit down with my daughter and had another discussion. I told her that I'm willing to back off and let her grown up, but she's always going to be my little girl. I'm always going to worry, but that is my issue to deal with. However, I also told her that I will no longer provide her with spending money. Her father and I give her about $500 a month. She is going to have to find a job for spending money. She can either work full-time and not attend school, or she can work part-time and go to school. I also told her that if she goes to school full-time and can't work because it would too much on her plate, I would provide her money. She is free to stay out late as she wants, but she has to be mindful of waking me up, so she has to be quiet. As some of you guessed, she is burned out. Burnout started when she was a junior in high school. She is a smart girl and go good grades up till that point. We put her in therapy during her junior and senior year, but she did not want to continue once she turned 18. I know she is depressed and has asked her to talk to a therapist. She doesn't want to. She isn't happy about me cutting off the money and says she will look into registering for the spring semester. I told her I am willing to help her work on her resume and speak with some of my connections to get her a job as admin, but she says she'll think about it. At this point, all O can do is wait and see if anything changed. But last night, she did go out and came back at 2:30 a.m. I was worried, but I held it together a little. Oh, I'll be seeing a therapist for my anxiety too. Thanks, everyone.
Would I be the arsehole if I started locking our bedroom door in the mornings? My husband and I are on different sleep schedules. He tends to go to bed around midnight or 1 a.m. and wake up around 7 a.m. I don't get to bed until 4, 5, sometimes 6 a.m. and tend to sleep until around noon. I'm aware my sleep schedule is horrible, but until I can get it fixed, this is what I'm living with. The issue is my husband will routinely come into the bedroom and talk to me while I'm still trying to sleep. It's never anything important and definitely nothing time-sensitive that couldn't wait until I was awake. He comes back into the room every 20 to 30 minutes, sometimes to make some random comment, sometimes to ask me a random question. Sometimes he'll walk in and just stand in the doorway staring at me. I've told him before that this feels like a passive-aggressive attempt to annoy me into getting up, and that it results in me already being irritated before I even get up for the day. His response was that that's not how he means it, so it's fine. This morning, he sent our Roomba into the bedroom when I was still sleeping, and the thing roared and banged around in there for an hour. Would I be the arsehole if I started locking the bedroom door after my husband gets up, so I can finish sleeping? There's a second bathroom he can use. It's the one he primarily uses anyway, so I wouldn't be cutting him off from the only bathroom or anything. This way I can finish sleeping without becoming irritated at him first thing in the morning. And he can stop wandering in for no reason. I don't know if it's just an ingrained habit at this point, or if he really is trying to annoy me into getting up, but he hasn't stopped despite me asking him to. Edit. Since so many people keep asking why my sleep schedule is so messed up, I'll put it here. I'm disabled and have chronic pain. If I go and lie down before I'm actually tired, I just end up lying there in pain. It's resulted in my sleep schedule getting pushed back later and later. Not ideal, but also not something I can just fix. I do not work. My husband is technically still employed, but is transitioning out and burning through his time off before he gets out, so he only goes into the office once every other week. Edit 2. Many people are pointing out that maybe my husband is lonely. That's a lot of hours that we could be spending together, etc. We're together literally all day, nearly every day. He only goes into work once every 2 weeks, and even that is only for 3 to 4 hours at a time. We spend the rest of the time less than 10 feet away from each other. We have plenty of time together. The few hours in the morning when I'm still asleep is the most time we spend apart.
Would I be the asshole if I told my friend that I was the anonymous person who paid his vet bills? A few years ago, my friend George had a lot of debt and couldn't afford for his dog to have surgery. He finally was going to do it and pay for it on credit cards. The morning of the surgery, I called the animal hospital and paid for everything and told them to please keep it anonymous. I had offered my friend before, and he was too proud to accept. A few weeks later, I saw him, and he brought it up and asked if it was me. My boyfriend at the time, now ex-boyfriend John, immediately jumped in with a, "Yes, we paid it." John made a big showing of it and definitely insinuated that he had made the decision to pay and paid most, if not all of the cost. In reality, he had paid zero, and also was pretty against how I spent my own money. I didn't say anything at the time, as it would have been awkward, and I already felt uncomfortable since I was planning to be anonymous forever. It's years later now. I still see George and John through our mutual friends once in a while. George will still bring up to John how grateful he is for him covering the medical bills that time, and John is always saying something like, "It's my pleasure." This really bothers me. I know I was planning to be anonymous, so it shouldn't bother me, but I feel like John is taking credit for something he had not earned. So much time has passed that I think I might be an asshole to bring it all up again the next time this happens. I feel very small inside for even caring. Would I be the asshole?
Would I be the asshole if I let my kids go trick-or-treating tonight? My children have come home from their dad's home. He has them from Monday to this morning. His girlfriend of 7 months dropped them off at mine and told me they are grounded and are not allowed to go trick-or-treating tonight. As she done a punishment now, I have to enforce it. To show the kids we are work as a united front. I asked her what they have done to get grounded from trick-or-treating. She said they wasn't listening yesterday at all to her and made a huge mess that could have been avoided. And as a result, they are not allowed to go trick-or-treating. My children was crying their eyes out over this. I asked her exactly what did they do as telling me they wasn't listening and making a mess isn't good enough. My children are 5 and 3. 5-year-old has a horrible short attention span. He can't focus on a lot, and you need to remind him like 10 times to brush his teeth, and he will lose his toothbrush when brushing. Even though sometimes it's still in his mouth, bless him. School is aware, and we are waiting for a referral as they think he's got a DD. My 3-year-old gets hyper-fixated on anything and everything. This can be hard to distract or to move on to something different. Like for example, Lego, she will sort it all out into color and shapes and will do this for hours with no break, and when you suggest it's time to go to bed or have dinner lunch, she struggles to remove herself from the Lego that she is so focused on. Anyway, his girlfriend refused to explain to me what they'd done wrong, so I told her I would not be doing this without a valid reason. I made sure my children was out of earshot so they didn't see me undermine her. She's gone back to my ex, who is saying I have no right to undermine them and should respect and continue with any punishment they give out like they would if I was to ground them. I haven't grounded them as they are young. I have a different method that they don't do at theirs, even though the children are at mine 90% of the time. Dad has them during half term or one weekend a month, sometimes two depending on his job and shift he has. I told him he needs to tell me what they have done, and he said, they didn't listen to GF while doing the pumpkins, and ended up getting gunk everywhere. Because they was playing with the inside of the pumpkin and didn't wash their hands afterwards, ran into the living room and wiped their hands on the sofa because Paw Patrol came on the TV. This doesn't feel like a good enough excuse to not let children go trick-or-treating. Plus, it's my daughter's first time going as she was ill last year. Would I be the asshole if I just took them anyway? Edit. I will be taking the kids out tonight, thank you, everyone. Tonight, I will be sending them this post and all the comments if they say anything about me taking them. We live in a small town and she knows everything. I don't have a court order in place as we don't really need them here unless parents start arguing or keeping the other patent from contact. Unless it's something serious, of course. But thank you everyone for your comment. I will try and respond to as many as I can later on once we are home.
Would I be the asshole for reporting my professor over their troubles with my name? I want to preface this by saying I'm on mobile, and I did make this account purely so I could make this post because my mom advised me to laughing put loud. I, 20 female, am in nursing school and am currently minoring in musicals education. One of my music teachers, who I'll call Mike, 40s male, has always had a problem with saying my name. I am Black, important later, and my name is Dakalia. I know the name is bad, but I learned to love it, and it's also not hard to pronounce. Every single teacher I've had takes about a week or so of me correcting them, then they say it correctly, which is perfectly understandable. Mike refuses to address me by my name, and after about a month of class, he stopped trying. He keeps referring to me as you or girl or some other random name like Maya, but then gets upset when I don't respond. My fiance is also in this class, and it's gotten to the point where he's getting upset with the teacher for disrespecting me. The whole class corrects the teacher. It's frustrating and has drove me to tears a few times. On Monday, I corrected him, and he made a comment about not wanting to pronounce ghetto names. I walked out of that class and did not go back today. One of my friends and my fiance said I should report him, but I feel like I might be being dramatic about everything, and parents agree. So would I be the asshole?
Would I be the asshole? If I told my parents I don't want to wrap presents this year if I have to do it on Christmas Eve? So I, female 21, am a college student going to university in another state from mine. Because of this, as soon as I'm done with finals for the fall semester, I usually go home for a winter break. Now, my family celebrates Christmas every year, and for us, it's literally just my parents, male 53 and female 46, my sister, female 7, and I. Ever since my sister was old enough to understand what Christmas was, I was the one wrapping gifts, even if I didn't buy them. While I was still in high school, I didn't mind because I liked helping out, and because I had a ton of free time when I wasn't in school or extracurriculars. However, ever since I left the college, for some reason I've noticed that they get all of the presents that they plan on getting for themselves, myself and my sister, like at least a week or two before I get home, and want me to wrap them on Christmas Eve. They also expect me to stay up until 1, 2, 3 a.m. wrapping presents, because they were too busy and tired to do it themselves, and they don't want my sister seeing what her presents are. I should note that my sister has this bad habit of going to bed extremely late, so 10 p.m. or later. They have also, in the past, gotten extremely snappy with me and told me angrily that if I don't do what they're telling me to do, they'll cancel Christmas and tell my sister that it's my fault that it was canceled when I tell them I am frustrated wrapping all of the presents that late at night and messing up the wrapping paper from being tired. While I understand are busy with their full-time jobs, I feel like it's unfair to expect me to do it the night before instead of doing it earlier and forcing me to sacrifice my sleep to get them wrapped. And I don't mind wrapping them, I just don't want to do them at 3 a.m. the night before. I have brought up letting me wrap them shortly after I get home while my sister is still at school, since I get home for winter break before my sister gets out for winter break, so that we basically have the same effect, where she will never find out what she got until Christmas Day if I did it while she's at school way beforehand. However, every time I have brought this up, they shut it down immediately. So, would I be the asshole if I tell them that I don't want to wrap them if I have to wrap them on Christmas Eve?
Am I the arsehole if I asked our daughter's friend to not have his GF stay at our house while he's at work? This is a little confusing to describe, but I will do my best. Our daughter's best friend, Jake, growing up, they've been close friends since they were 11 years old, needed a place to stay temporarily after a genuinely fucked up situation. He is considered a family member, and that is why he is staying with us. Jake is bringing this girl over, though, who he just started dating at the time he started staying with us a couple months ago. I will call her Sabrina. Sabrina is sweet to our faces, but really disrupts the household dynamic by doing things like inexplicably staying in the bathroom for over an hour each time. She says she's constipated. She volunteers this information as an explanation. She does not seem to be doing anything but talking on the phone, which she does loudly and at all hours of the day and night, waking us up. She talks on the phone when she's taking very long showers. She does her laundry here. No one asked us if we would mind if she came over at all, let alone all this other crazy shit. We are at our wits' end. I feel logically we should ban her outright, but Jake is in a fragile mental space too, and we don't want to alienate him or hurt him. But this girl is making it feel like living in bizarro world, and this is our home. It fucking sucks. Am I the asshole if I told him she can't stay here anymore?